We're with David Shapiro. David is a criminal defense attorney in San Diego, California. He's agreed to answer some online questions related to child abuse that were posted. With that said, David, let's get into the first question. Do you have set fees for defending child abuse cases? And if so, what are they?
I do not have set fees for defending child abuse cases. Child abuse cases could mean a whole lot of different things in California. It could be a misdemeanor child abuse case, a child endangerment situation, all the way to a lifetime child molest type situation, felony case. So there are no necessarily set fees. I have general parameters which I like to work within, depending on the type of the charge, depending on whether the potential client has any prior criminal history, depending on what stage the case is at, if trial would be included with that retainer agreement or not, depending where in San Diego County or Southern California the case actually is, and who the district attorney might be. There's a lot of different factors that I try and work with within the realm of possibility, though, understanding that potential clients can only afford certain things. I try and keep that in mind as well. So there's no set fee. Like I've indicated previously, the good thing is it's my office. I'm the one that ultimately has that control on that. So, I have taken cases for a little bit less than probably what they've been worth in the past, if certain situations or certain characteristics line up. Sometimes not. So it all depends on the case.
Okay, next question. I'm expecting some unfounded charges to be filed. My understanding is action by an attorney taken prior to this can be beneficial. Is this true? And if so, do you have a fee for this service? Basically, they're asking if they come in to meet with you, ahead of time. Is it a good thing? And if so, what is that going to cost?
A couple things. First, whenever you think you might be accused of doing something, whether or not law enforcement's involved, but you're aware of someone making these accusations, it is imperative, and in many instances maybe essential, that you retain a quality criminal defense attorney to represent you. Because that person, like someone like myself, will sit down and talk to you and be able to explain to you why you are not going to do certain things and why doing certain things would not be beneficial to your case. An example would be if someone's making an accusation against you, you don't want to talk to that person on the phone. You don't want to admit anything via text message, email, whatever. That person could use that as evidence against you later on when they make a complaint with law enforcement. Law enforcement could be listening on the other line. It's something known as a controlled call. So basically, you want to stop all communication with that person. And if anyone's communicating with that person, you want it to be your criminal defense attorney. Now, if it's at the law enforcement level, same thing. Let me be your liaison with the cops. Don't be in any rush to make any statements. My approach usually is when I take over an investigation like this, I'll reach out to law enforcement. I'll say, hey, listen, my understanding is you want to talk to client X about A, B, C, D, and E. How about this? Why don't you send me a list of questions and we'll let you know what, if anything, we feel like answering. Usually that puts a stop to the investigation. Or sometimes, law enforcement sends me a list of questions and I can answer them, possibly on your behalf. Stuff that never could be used against you, that could facilitate the investigation, hopefully to your benefit. Either way, we stop the flow, stop the bleeding, so to speak, and make sure that we don't give law enforcement, the district attorney's office, the complaining witness, whatever, and whoever, more information than they already have. Easiest example is someone accuses you of, let's say you're accused of rape. Okay, you go out on a date with a girl and, the next day she starts texting you and says, I can't believe you did this to me. I didn't want to sleep with you, so on and so forth. Okay, the best thing to do is just keep your mouth closed and at that point hire an attorney. Because in all honesty, by you saying, yeah, I'm sorry, or I didn't think that, it was great, what you're doing is, via text message, via social media, via on the phone, in writing, whatever, you're confirming that something happened in the first place. So you're giving them 50, 75% of the case right away by conceding that something happened. If you keep your mouth closed and hire an attorney, you hopefully stop it early enough where the case never makes its way to court. Now, the other part of the question was, how much do I charge for that? Similar to any other case, it depends on the specific circumstances of the case. It depends on what stage you're at in the case. There are no set fees. I have ideas of what I usually like to charge for those types of cases, but I don't necessarily want to paint myself or yourself into a box or into a corner based on set fees. I am pretty flexible with my office on what I will take and how much I will take things for. We generally offer an initial free consultation, 30 minutes, 45 minutes or so. If not with me, you'll definitely meet with a staff member who could walk you through the process and gather relevant information and give you a better idea of what some of the things that I have done in my career and what I might be able to do for you.
Okay, next question is, my wife is threatening to go to the police in order to get more money out of me. I feel like this is extortion. She says I'm neglecting my kids, which is not true. What options do I have?
Your first option and your only option to start should be to hire an attorney. Depending on what court it's in. Now, it could be a child endangerment, it could be a child abuse type situation. So you definitely would need a criminal defense attorney, ideally someone who could refer you then to a family law attorney, because it seems like, based on your question, that there's an ugly either divorce or child custody dispute, or there's already some sort of family court hearing. Okay, but the good thing is, what we've been able to do sometimes is, in situations like these, if I were your attorney, I would communicate with your wife, and maybe she would be foolish enough to say something via an email or in writing or whatever, oh, well, if he gives me this much more money, I won't file a case and all that type of stuff, because that way we get it in writing that shows her true motivation, which would be to extort money from you and try and extort you and use the judicial process to her advantage. And that's the type of things that won't happen if you hire the right attorney, because someone like me will step in there and basically be the voice of reason and communicate with your wife. If she doesn't want to talk to me, that's fine. Not going to do is she's not going to be communicating with you and extorting you, because she knows you have an attorney and there's a history of documented attempts to speak to her about it civilly. Therefore, if she ever goes to a prosecutor's office, if she ever goes to law enforcement, and I find out about that, then I go in there and say, hey, listen, I've been trying to work this out with this woman for months. It shows good faith on your end, but it's not you communicating with her directly. It's not you admitting to certain things. It's not you getting pissed off at her, and maybe you make a threat. Maybe you say, if you do this, I'm going to do that. You better not go tell the police something. And then what may be an unfounded accusation against you turns into a strike felony for dissuading witness for testifying. So you see what I mean when I'm talking about hire an attorney, keep your mouth closed, because so many times I've represented people who were accused, not convicted, accused of minor offenses, and because of their own conduct before hiring a quality criminal defense attorney who knows what they're doing, they wind up turning a minor case, a minor accusation, into a lot more serious and sometimes indefensible accusations just based on her conduct after hearing about it. So if she calls you and says, hey, I'm going to go to the cops, and you start this expletive-laced email, if you do this, I'm going to mess you up, I'm going to hurt you, whatever. Okay, well, let's say her accusations against the kids with you and the kids has never proven in court. We go to trial, we win that count. What am I supposed to do with your threats in writing, telling her if she does this, you're going to hurt her? So less is more. Hire an attorney. Make sure you hire the right attorney, though, too.
Yeah, okay, that actually makes a lot of sense there. The next one is, my husband is currently being held for a sexual abuse charge, which I do not want to post online. It is completely untrue. I'm sure when the facts come out, everything will be fine, but I don't want this to affect our children. Can you help with this, or do I need a family attorney?
Well, it depends who's making the accusation against your husband. I mean, either way, he needs a criminal defense attorney if he's being held in custody at the moment. First off, if you contact my office, confidential, what you guys are telling us, public record information, we might be able to find out what the charges are, obviously, where he's being housed, all those types of things relatively quickly, and anyone could for that matter. As far as the effect on your children, it depends. If your children are under 18 and your husband's accused of some child abuse, whether sexual or physical abuse of another child, you might have issues with CPS. You might have issues with CPS, or Child Welfare Services, basically trying to put heat on you to give up information about your husband. Otherwise, they're going to play the card of, well, you're not a good mom. We have doubts that you'll protect your children if he's allowed back in the home, so on and so forth. So at the very least, your husband needs an experienced criminal defense attorney. And I think it would also make sense for you to hire your own attorney to address with any consequences in in dependency court, where CPS might be involved. And they usually go hand in hand. Whenever there's an abuse allegation involving a child directly or involving a child as a witness to alleged abuse, Child Welfare Services, particularly here in San Diego, gets involved, and sometimes it can be a nightmare to deal with.
Okay, and the final question we had is, I'm looking to hire a defense attorney, and I'm narrowing it down to a few. What types of questions should I be asking the attorneys?
Well, a couple of things you want to do. First is, there's many tools out there on the internet to, effectively narrow down your search. What you want to do is hire an attorney who's experienced in actual courtroom experience, preliminary hearings, jury trials with similar, if not the same, charges that you or your loved one are facing. You know, I've said this many times. So many attorneys out there advertise about, you know, I've been doing this for 30 years. I've been doing this for 20 years. But at the end of the day, that doesn't mean a single thing if they're not in court on a daily 4 to 5 times, 3 to 4 or 5 times a week basis. Because you could be doing, you know, practicing law for 30 years and you may have 100 criminal cases under your belt. You could be practicing law for 8 years or 7.5 years and handled over 1,100, 1,200 criminal cases. So, you know, don't get fooled by how many years of experience someone has. Ask them about their day-to-day experience. You know, sometimes it's hard to estimate. If someone asks me how many preliminary hearings I've done, I don't know, a lot. You know, it's hard because you're in court so much. You know, I could ultimately look up and pull up, you know, over the 1,000 cases I've handled and give you a more concrete estimate. But, you know, bottom line is you want to make sure that the person has practical in-court experience. In an ideal situation, you hire an attorney who has courtroom experience, or at least affiliates with someone who has courtroom experience in that courthouse where your case will be heard. Another thing you want is someone who you get along with, because, you know, if you're having issues from the get-go, or if you don't think your personality is going to match with that attorney early on, imagine what it's going to be like if you're in trial and things are stressed, and, you know, he or she, the attorney you hire, might have strategy decisions you don't agree with, and if that attorney's not going to explain them to you, then you're going to have a problem. And you also don't want to go out there and just hire the cheapest attorney, and you certainly don't want to necessarily go out there and hire the most expensive attorney. You know, some people charge an absurd amount of money on cases, and they have no business charging that money because they don't know what they're doing. Other times people charge such a low fee, and that's also maybe because they don't know what they're doing. You know, I have the experience in sexual-based offenses. You know, I've tried cases like that. I've handled multiple life count child abuse cases, child endangerment cases, child molest cases, so on and so forth. You know, I've gone to the seminars. I know what needs to be done. I know the extent of work that it takes to get things done the right way, and how doing things the right way can benefit you in the end. So, you know, you want to ask them, hey, do you go to seminars that address child abuse? Have you tried these types of cases? Have you had preliminary hearings in these types of cases? You know, generally speaking, what's your approach, or what's your office's approach in these types of cases? You want to ask them, what do they think about experts? What do they think about, you know, psychological evaluations? All those types of things that attorney or that attorney's office should surround themselves with people in the community that know what they're doing and can assist as part of a gigantic team, whether you're hiring a solo practitioner, whether you're hiring a law firm, a criminal defense firm with 3 or 4 attorneys. You want to make sure that person's going to be able to incorporate and avail themselves of all the resources that you can afford and that they've accumulated throughout their career. So, you know, those are the questions you want to ask about. You know, you want to look at client reviews. You don't want to put all your eggs in that basket, but you definitely want to look at client reviews. You want to see what other people have had experiences. Usually, you know, people who write client reviews have either had great experiences or really bad experiences. You know, if you look in your own life, you know, if I hire someone a locksmith and I think the locksmith did an okay job, or, you know, did a good job, but so what? I'm not necessarily going to write a review. If I think they did a bad job, I might. If I think they went above and beyond, I might. You know, but you want to do your research. The internet's a great tool nowadays to do your research. The attorney's website, if they have videos where you can actually see them speaking and talking and addressing certain questions. Avo.com is a great resource where you could sit down and compare someone's experience, client reviews, peer endorsements. You could look at the questions that they're answering, if they're involved and if they're active on websites like that, and answering potential clients' questions and availing themselves of all the resources out there. So there's a lot of things you could do. You know, there's no one set thing, but, you know, do your research, do your homework. You're going to be spending a lot of money, and you want to make sure you hire the right person.
All right, excellent. Well, if you have any other questions for David, all you need to do is post them in the comments section below. He's agreed to get back to you with questions, with answers. Also, just as a note, he mentioned Avo. That's avvo.com. He does have a profile on there, so you can check out David on that. David, thanks for your time.
No problem. Feel free to call me with any questions. And if you're serious about obviously hiring a good attorney to represent you, you can always give me a call, 619-295-3555. Thank you very much.
Thanks.